Okay, so first things first, before we start the modeling, so I'll go to File, Save Scene As. This is going to be saved as plate number 3 in my modeling folder. I'll save it. Okay, after I have saved it, so now I'll be creating an in-file backup. So I'll select this deblocked model level, and then I'll just press W or W for move tool, and then I'll just combine it. So, and then I'll just rename it SG underscore 02. So this is shotgun 02, or the level of modeling it on. And then I'll just move it there, hold shift and drag a new one here. And then this one I will separate, and then I'll type in 0 on the x-axis here. This is your UCS, if in case you're wondering. And then I will select all of them, edit, delete all by type history, and then I'll select this, have them separated. So they are now separated. These ones are already combined, so I will just hide them, Control H, and then I'll just select this, and I will now remove it from this placeholder, and I'll just delete that one. Okay, so now here is my working file. Now next is my working object. This is where I will model. Next, I have search about my model, meaning I wanted to see different rendered angles of the subject. So I have searched for similar models so that I can easily, or I can model them and add details also, because this is now going to be this modeling is going to be on the detailing part, or the adding of the initial details and accents. And also I will be introducing you to some tools in modeling. So let me just select all of this, and then I'll deselect the barrel. Those are the first one that I will work on. Control H, and then here. So what I'll do with these two is I'll combine them. After I combine, now I can select them, and I can switch to the multicut tool, and then I'll follow the reference here at the side view, right? And then look carefully. I'll change the panels, layouts, I'll change it to 2 by 2, side by side, and then I'll just go here to bring back that side view. So the next thing is I need a detail here, so all I need to do is use the multicut tool, hold Control to create that loop, right? And then I will just click. Okay, I can do it on the other side also. Holding Control and Shift will create a loop. So now they are aligned there. And then I'll do the same at the other side later. I'll turn this off. Now I can select the polygons, and then I can start selecting polygons that can be bridged to form these together. So I can select this, let's say, shift there, and then I'll select the other one equivalently. Oops, that's excess there. So how many is there? Same on each side. Now I can easily bridge. So they're bridged together, pressing Q. So now the next thing is I can go back to my multicut tool, hold Control, look at the reference from there. So I need not the multicut tool, But I need to drag these edges forward, or these vertices. So what I'll do is I'll introduce you to the constraint. So this is our, let's call this edge constraint, wherein these edges or vertices are going to move along the edges. There. Now they're constrained there. It's fine. Turning it off. Return to multi-cut tool. Hold control. I'll do a cut. So it cuts around once more. Turning it off. And then I'll switch to edge slide. Once more, I'll select the edges. Double click. W for move. And then I can slide the edges also there. After the sliding, I have that. Okay, I can turn this off. And then I can go here and then just use the extrude, pressing Q, go for the extrude. I can drag this up like that, right? And then I can just press R for scale tool so that I can scale from within, holding shift there. That's an extrusion from within. W for drag. Carefully drag that like that, and then I can drag it forward such, and then I can just shift click drag up once more to further adjust the detail. I can use the vertex selection, and then I'll just W drag move here. There. So now I have that site. If I prefer, I'll select this, press R, and thin this down a bit. There. Okay. Then I'll press W for move, turn off the selection, use object selection, and then I'll move on to the other end here. So in this detail, again, I'll just use another multi-cut tool, holding Control and Shift. There, I can snap exactly the location there. Then I can turn it off, and then I'll just once more choose the polygon selection and start selecting, say until that to here. There. Okay, then I'll just press W for move, shift click drag to extrude. I'll press R and scale, flatten them along that green axis. So now I have that, and then I can start deselecting the middle, let's say until there and there. That's what. And then I'll press W for move. I can shift click drag further like this. There. Looking at the panel's orthographic reference at the front, F. So there, it's a bit taller, so I'll just drag it along here. Okay, I don't need to follow this for now. It's going to be for the reference. So what I'll do next is I'll just adjust it. So what I can do is I can switch to the vertex selection, select the vertices from each end there, and then I can press R, then I can scale it inward here, and then I can select this and this, and then I'll just scale it inwards there. So now I have that for the site, saving work. So let's say I have created that detail, but again, let's refer to panels orthographic, and then side. I'd like to further adjust on this part. I'll use the selection and drag it that way here along there, and then I'd like to create um, a rim surrounding it for later's use. So I can again use the multicut tool. I'll just do a hold control and drag it here and click. There it is. Turning it off. Polygon selection is back. Oops, I cut a different one here. Oh, so let me undo that. Okay, that's better. Turning that off. Again, let me just cut again along here. Okay, that's better. Okay, then I'll just turn that off. Polygon selection back. Double click onto the other side. There it is. I'll just do a quick extrude. Let's say a thickness of 0.01. That will be fine with me. Then I'll just go back to the move tool and then just look at it for now like that. That looks fine. So let's say I am done with the barrels. I'll just select unhide the rest. Shift H there. So the next thing is I'll just follow again another detailing for this portion of the reference. So there are, let's just check, I think there's an extrusion at the bottom of this, and then I'll just look at the other side for now. Let's go side left. Oops, it's getting mixed up. Panels, orthographic, side left. So let's check the reference. It's not showing properly. So this is side left, panels. Let's go to our left side reference. I'll go to my attributes and click the folder. Double checking the direction. There. So there it is. So there's also a hole here. So what I'll do is I'll add that detail, but the procedure is this, so that the deformations will not affect the main form of our object. Just move this reference a bit. Okay, so that the deformations will not affect the main form of our object. Let's create a loop here. Double click the next. I'll do a connect. I'll do two connections there, and then I'll just switch to the scale tool and separate them further like this. There. So this time it will not affect the main form or the edge form of our object. So that support loops protect them from this. So what I'll do next is I'll just select the polygon selection. I'll select the polygons involved in making this hole. Okay, pressing F, going to the other side of this. So what I'll do next is I'll just do an extrude, but I don't need a value. So after I have pressed extrude, I'll just return to the scale tool. But before I do some scaling, what I'll do is I'll turn on the surface slide. So this means that the polygons selected are going to slide along this surface. So I'll just do that, and there. So there is no deformation happening. It is just sliding to fit to the reference, right? W for move. I'll just slide it. Then I can press R again to shrink it a bit more, and then I can press R and just drag it along here. Okay, so there's a frame there. That means a secondary inset would do. So what I'll do is I'll just do another one. I'll just do extrude again. I'll just switch to the scale tool. I did not pull or push anything, and then I'll just hold shift and drag in. Oops, sorry for that. I'll just drag in here. Oops, the extrude. Okay, so now for the scale tool, I'll just drag it inwards as such. There. Now I can press delete, get rid of that. So now I have this. I can now double click, pressing Q, and I can do an extrude. I'll just extrude a little along that normal, pressing Q. So now we have our detail there. If I press number 3, it does not affect the form when it smoothens. So it was separated by the what we have done, the inset. Next thing is, I'll go to the bottom view, panels, orthographic. I'll go to the bottom view to see about the extrusion under. So there is a polygon there, right? So what I'll do is, I'll do the same once more. I'll select this and this, and then I'll just, excuse me, go to extrude. There. Again, press Q without touching any value. Press R. So there it is. I'll just drag it inwards as such, sliding again. So I'll just thin it first and then just drag it there. Right? So what I'll do is I'll do another extrude with no value, press R and then dragging it there, and then resizing it as per the reference. Okay, let's resize this a bit there. Okay, then I'll press Q, then I'll just select, oops, sorry, I can delete this now, and then I can select surrounding edges, and then I can do an extrude along that face or direction, and then press Q. There it is. So now the detail, panels, orthographic at the side is also done, right? So the next thing is to deal with the details here. So we need to justify their connections, how they are connected to each other. So thing to do is, let's first select all, deselect the rest not involved within the scene. So let's deselect these. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just shift Control I, Control H. There it is. It's hidden. So I'll just select this time. I'll just do another multi-cut. Hold Control and Shift. I'll multi-cut it here. There. I think that's a 50% cut. Turning it off. Going back to polygon selection. Selecting one. Double click. Delete. Double click. Delete. There. I'm going to do this because I will be deleting holes onto this side. So let me just select the views. They got hidden there. So this one, I'll just switch to the other view. Orthographic, I'll choose the other side. There. So here, what we will do next is going to create those holes, similar to the way we created the holes here. So I will just separate this once more from the forms. So I can use face selection, and then I can just adjust the surface slide once more, do another extrude, then just press Q or R, and then I'll just scale it in while it is sliding onto surface. oops, sorry, just scaling it in, holding shift. No need to hold shift, yeah, because I already extruded earlier. Oops, pressing F there. Now I'll just press W, move, there it is, right? And then what I'll do is I'll just shift and right click, and then I'll choose circularize compound. It will create a circle for that. Of course, for now, since it is a hexagon or six-sided, it will appear as such. Rotating the tool here, I'll do the same on the other side. Select Q and then R, extrude Q, and then we go for another adult, assisting them, R. So there it is, W, R, W. So now all I need to do with this is shift right click, and then I will just choose circularize, and there it is. Pressing E, I can rotate this to the orient, pressing F to focus. There it is. So here I can press R, resize it a bit, yeah, W for move. Okay, and then one last is this side. I'll just extrude, and then I'll press R, and then I'll just scale it in, right? W, making this, R, scaling that, shift right click, circularize, Q, W, there it is, E, there. So now we have those, they are separated from the forming meshes. So all I need to do now is just turn this off and then just start my deletions. There it is. So the next thing that I will do now is just create the other half of this. So the other half I can create through here, edit, duplicate, special. So I'll just reset this. Okay, so I want to copy, want instance, I want negative X here. I'll just apply, close, there it is. So they are match, right? So what I can do now is I'll just select this two, the combine and the original. So I'll just combine the two of them. So they are now combined. I'll just go to my panels, orthographic, and top view. I'll just select all the vertices, and then I'll just select this center. Okay, and then I'll just go to edit mesh, merge. Okay, so they are now merged together. And then now I will just go to edges, double click, and double click, delete these, not really delete, but bridge these new polygons I created. click, double click. Let's go bridge, Q, W. So again here, double click, and I'll just go for bridge, Q, W. There it is. So now I have created these details for my object, which is double barrel shotgun. Okay, as we continue, I will give you further other tools, or I will introduce you to other tools for your model or detail modeling. See you in the next lesson.